All right, what's up, YouTube? Pink Reaper here. A little bit late, but with my overview and breakdown of my last stage, a little bit of everything. Um, so, like a bunch of my other stages, or like most of my other stages, this one kind of saw. This one didn't come out quite as I had planned originally, but it mostly did. Um, the level started out with this idea of I want to use a level that involves abusing invincibility frames and placing P switches to jump on when your invincibility frames run out. Um, like I have here at the beginning section, but then I started to think about it. I'm like, well, I could do that, but eventually it would just kind of become sort of not boring, but it wouldn't be very difficult. I mean, you'd get the idea down pretty early, and there's not a lot you can do with it. It would end up a lot like Panic Button at that point. So I decided, well, I can use that that part I like, or that part I want to use, and kind of work it around some other stuff, some other ideas I'd used before. And originally, the level was a little bit of everything. Was going to be a Super Meat Boy section, followed by a sort of like this kind of section, the beginning section here, the P switch section, and then ending with like a series of difficult wall jumps and stuff like that to the end of the level. So it would sort of be a combination of Super Meat Boy, Panic Button, and Wall Kicks Will Work. I ended up going against that and putting the Super Meat Boy section to the end though, because I made it super difficult. Like super super difficult, and we'll get to that when we get to that. And I didn't want to open with that part because it would just basically no one would play the level at that point. So right off the bat, I'm going to thank Maggie for this part right here, the cannon that I didn't even think of originally when I was theory crafting this level. It was just going to be a platform, and then you were going to have some Koopa Troopas that were walking right here, and you were just going to jump on them, throw the switch, and go. For those who didn't see the release video, this is how the beginning of this level works. You have two enemies you need. You jump off one, throw the switch, jump off the other, land on the switch, and then wall jump up here. So that's the beginning of this level. This was the original idea. This is with the exception of the cannon part. This is everything I wanted when I first started designing this level. The only difference was originally I was going to have this wall jump into a P switch that you had to, or two P switches, one that you grabbed, one that you jumped on, through it, and then you'd have another P switch you had to land on, and then you'd have to land on the P switch you threw, and you'd make it through all the way here. I decided not to do that because at the time this later section was a little bit different, and well, we'll get into that later. I ended up not going with that. This section right here, the Shelmet section, I actually really like, but I didn't do it well enough. It is entirely possible to jump into this Shelmet and land on this switch, so you don't have to grab it and then do the really technical place the helmet on your head spin jump maneuver onto this guy like I did. It is possible. It's also possible to throw this first switch far enough that you get like it lands like around here right under the coin, so that you can jump high enough to skip landing on this shell. You can jump from the top block and spin at the height of your jump, and you will land on this blue platform. I found both of those while I was testing, but I just decided to leave it in because there's not really a good way to fix that, unfortunately. It really is just about sort of where this P switch lands when you throw it. Getting into the next section, so what you didn't see is I have this little section here, and it was just a little intermission section that I wanted to have into the next section. I build intermission sections like what this is right here, into my levels in between the actual parts of the level. Um, so I have this simple wall jump. It's wall jump to block to spin jump to land on here. And then we have the Shelmet jumping part where I have way more trouble with this than I should. See, that always happens to me. Every friggin' time. I'm so bad at this. I think this is what caused me... This is what caused me to take forever to beat my level. Oh, that's really far back. I don't know if I'm... Yeah. This is what gave me the most trouble beating my own level. Was these little wall... Well, okay, that's not true, but I had a lot of trouble here with this little wall jump section. So into here, I was like, okay, I've kind of done everything I want to do with the P jump, the P switch throwing. I had some other ideas that would be super fucking difficult, and no one would want to do it. It would start entering into like the Panga levels of retarded, where it's like, grab a P switch, grab a P switch, throw it towards some coins just before you land on another P switch that's over some, that's over a block that'll turn into coins. Jump off of that P switch, land on the P switch that's now on coin block. Like, it was just stuff like that, and I was like, no, this is too ridiculous. I don't want to make people do that. So here's where I reached my first hiccup. Originally, this was going to start the Super Meat Boy part of the stage, and I was going to have fast-moving platforms down here, and it was just going to be some somewhat technical jumps into essentially what would have already been the end of the level. The last portion of the level would have started right here. The problem was I forgot that in New Super Mario Brothers, when you hit a P switch, moving platforms, like, or not moving platforms, but like these things, I don't know what they're called. I can't even hear what the game is calling them. When you, for those who don't know, when you lay an item or any object on the screen, the game actually says the name of that object. But anyway, these stop when you hit a P switch, so can't really do much with that, unfortunately. So I just made a little small section, another small intermission section right here. I used the falling platforms just to make it sort of a little bit more difficult. Honestly, these jumps are super easy. Like, you'll never fail on these jumps. This jump is a little interesting, though. As far as I know, it's not actually possible to make this jump without an air spin. It might be, but I'm not 100% certain. But then it's into another spin jump, to another P-switch jump into here. And then you'd come out right here, and you'd just sort of wait for it to run out, which I couldn't really do anything else about. And then there's this section. So I made this section as difficult as humanly possible, with the exception of this jump right here, mostly because I couldn't fit these grinders where I needed them to be to make this more difficult. So this is the actual Super Meat Boy section, and it's retarded. So, hold on, I'll actually do this so that I don't have invincibility when I show you this. So this first jump here is a 2-frame jump. For those who don't know, Mario has variable jumping height. Let's go right back to the starting position right here. Okay, everyone knows Mario has variable jumping height, but some of you might not know how variable it is. So this is the lowest jump Mario can make, and it's, as far as I know, it's a like 2 or 3 frame window for this jump. And you can control his height quite a bit. Like, there's a lot of control you have over his height. but it only goes up, obviously. There's no way to stop yourself if you're holding the button for too long from going too high. Um, so this section right here at the very end requires you to do a 2-frame jump right here, as well as a 2-frame jump right here. This one, obviously, you have more room in. And that can be very difficult for some people. Now, a lot of people don't know, this first jump is makeable without holding the run button. Just the momentum you get from the moving platform here is enough to make that, these first two jumps. You do need to do an actual jump to make it through here, but this is the hardest part for a lot of people, or what I'm going to assume is the hardest part for a lot of people, because even for me, when I'm holding two buttons, I just have a harder time letting go of that button fast enough. I mean, I can do it, obviously, but it's just a lot harder. And if you're just walking, wow, there's not a great window for that jump either, to be completely honest. I hate myself. Anyway, you actually have to jump from as far into this platform as possible to land on this. And then this section isn't particularly hard. It's just a series of careful wall jumps. And then here, I did that in my first try. God damn it. I didn't mean to do that. Here's where I'm assuming people will have the hardest, will get the angriest at me, I should say. This jump is not as difficult as it looks. This jump is actually easier than these jumps. For those who don't know, this is another for those who don't know kind of thing. Mario's hat is not a hitbox. He can touch the grinders right here. In fact, Mario's actual hitbox is this. I need to line him up perfectly. Okay, so this right here, Mario's hitbox is 1 square. Everything, every part of his hat from the rim up is not an active hitbox. So it looks like you won't be able to make this jump a lot of the time. That was just me holding the button too long. But, and that was me doing a 2-frame jump. Yay, I did it. I'm the best. Oh, that wasn't a 2-frame jump. But that's the basic idea here is, wow, I'm so bad now. I did it on my first try, now I can't do it anymore. I just straight up didn't hold the, wow. Oh, this also, I want to talk about another mechanic, sorry. This also uses another mechanic where, you can extend your jump height. Or not your jump height, your jump length without extending your jump height by letting go of the jump button and then repressing it. See right here, I actually would not have died. At no point was Mario's head high enough for him to actually die at this jump. Yeah, this is kind of a dick jump to have at the end, but still. This is another mechanic that a lot of players don't know about. In Mario games, I'll go back to the beginning here. This is the only place I'm safe. Sorry, guys. So, you can increase your jump distance without increasing your jump height by letting go of the jump button in midair and then repressing the jump button after you've already hit the top of your arc. At that point, you'll continue gaining your floaty momentum forward like you would if you were holding the button, but you won't gain it. Obviously, you won't gain any more height. That's kind of what I abused right here at the end of the level. And I know it's going to give a lot of people problems because they don't know that. But it's just another mechanic you kind of have to learn. And I will be abusing that later in other levels. I already have my next my next level sort of theory crafted. I just have to decide how I want to build it. I actually have, okay, I have two levels I want to make, both involving the same basic concepts, but completely different because one of them is Super Mario World, one of them is New Super Mario Brothers. And they both involve a lot of springs. Let's just put it like that. And depending on which game I choose, or which game type I choose, which model type I choose, I can do a little bit different. Now I don't want to say what it is yet because I don't want to spoil it, and I definitely don't want to give away the tricks. I want you to have to learn the tricks on your own. Sorry, but one of them, especially it's probably going to be in the new Super Mario Brothers one because it's a trick that I don't see being utilized a lot. Now, part of that comes with the fact that the people who make the super hard levels are all like Super Mario World speedrunners, so they only ever make Super Mario World levels. But even in the other stuff, I don't see it being used a lot. It's a trick I've known about for a while. I've actually seen one level that uses it by, I think it's Carl Sagan. Yeah, Carl Sagan uses it briefly in one of his levels because he has a new Super Mario Bros. Level. But other than that, I've never actually seen it in any levels. So I'm looking forward to using that. I should also point out, before I came and did this breakdown, I actually went through and played all of my levels again. I beat every single one again. Starting with Kai. Actually, no, I started with Wall Kicks Will Work. And then I went to Kaizo, and then I went to Panic Button, and then I went to Actual Super Meat Boy, because that one's pretty easy. And then I went to this. This level is still ridiculous. Especially just because of this section. The 2-frame jumps and the variable jump height thing are not easy. I'm trying to just show this off. So right there, I let go of the jump button, I pressed the jump button. If I hadn't done that, I would have landed about here. You gain about 2 squares depending on how high your jump is. It can be anywhere from like 2 to 4 squares, depending on how high your jump is and how long you hold the button. But obviously, if you're letting go of the button, you're not getting a full jump height. I want to say 4 is actually the maximum. I'm not sure. Where did I jump from right there? No, I think it might be 3. No, actually, it might actually just be 2. Yeah, I guess it's just about 2. Anyway, that's just me playing around. So yeah, no, this level is definitely very difficult. And it's difficult because it requires really, really, really good technical timing on your button presses, which is because not only do you have to do a 2-frame jump, you have to do a 2-frame jump like right from here. Not only do you have to do a 2-frame jump, you have to do a 2-frame jump from here and spin. So it's not, I mean, I understand that this is going to be way more difficult than people would enjoy, especially considering how much harder it is at the end than it is towards the beginning. That said, that's just sort of what I wanted. I wanted it to be super difficult right at the end. I didn't want a level that you could just blaze through and then beat easily right at the end. I wanted something very challenging at the end. But yeah, my next level, I don't know, it might be easier, might not be. I'm also kind of been theory crafting just like a normal Super Mario Brothers level, like just something that you would play in an actual normal Mario game, and it would be fun, but it wouldn't be like, Kaizo difficult or anything like that. Just because I feel like that's not being done enough in Mario Maker. Like, I've played a couple of those levels too, and now that we have the checkpoints, I think it would just work a lot better. But anyways, enough of the rambling. This is a little bit of everything. If anyone wants to try it out, the level code is in the release video. So thanks for watching, guys. This has been Pink Reaper, signing out.